I'm Mrs. Rogers and this is Mrs. Rogers' Kitchen. We're going to make something that in the 80s were called Icies. Basically, you need a vanilla or a white chocolate. Comes in many forms. The candy stores used to sell Icies for today's prices would be about $15 a pound. Well, we're going to make 1.5 pounds of Icies with this inexpensive, it's called almond bark. Sometimes this is called candy coating. It's basically all the same thing. You can also use chocolate chips, but get the white ones. They work the best. There's several ways that you can melt this. You can use a double boiler. Chocolate is just like you and me. If it's too hot for you, it's too hot for the chocolate. So we have a double boiler here, and this water is steaming. You can't hold your hand there, it's very hot. So we do not want to leave it on the burner boiling. You're going to take it off the burner and then put your pan on the top of it. If you leave it on the burner steaming like it was a minute ago, it's too hot. So we're going to melt 4 squares of this chocolate in our double boiler. We're going to melt 4 squares of our chocolate in a glass bowl in the microwave. Works great. The problem with the microwave is it's too hot if you just turn it on regular temperature. So we're going to put it on half temperature, and we're also going to put some of our white chocolate in a Ziploc bag. We're going to put that in the microwave with the bowl for 30 seconds on half power. Set it down just on the glass. If you put it off full power, your chocolate will start burning. So we're going to just go time cook, 30 seconds, power level 5, and start it cooking. To make Icies, you need a flavoring ingredient. That's what makes them so cool. When you have candy canes that break, they work great. So we're just going to use a couple of these little peppermint sticks for people who love peppermint. It's like peppermint and cream. It's delicious. You can also use hard candy. They work great. These are grape hard candies. And I really love like watermelon Jolly Ranchers, green apple. They're delicious. And sometimes you get suckers and you buy one and you always have a broken one. So just keep those broken suckers. While our chocolate is melting, we're going to take our candy and put it in. I just use a little Ziploc bag, works great. Seal it up, and some people use a hammer or something. I just use the back end of a table knife. It works great. Use a cutting board though, because you can damage your counters, and just hit it and smash it until it's just pulverized, almost a powder. We're gonna check on our chocolate. See how that pours? You want it to pour. If your chocolate quits pouring, it's getting dried out, and it's because you have too much heat. I want to work with this for a little while. So I got just a pizza pan, and I put hot water in it. You want water that's hot to keep this nice and melted, but if it's too hot to touch, it's too hot. But we're gonna just set this in here. When the chocolate starts setting up, I'll just put new hot water in there, and that keeps our chocolate melted for hours actually. One of the cool things about chocolate is that little kids can work with chocolate because it's so gentle, the heat, there's nothing they can really do to hurt themselves. That's one of the reasons I was showing you the fun little Ziploc bag. So we put 2 squares of chocolate in here. You see it's nice and soft. This didn't have the heat from the bowl. So 4 squares actually melted in the bowl in the same time that 2 squares melted in this bag. Let's put the peppermint in the bowl that we have over here. A good rule of thumb is 1 piece of candy for each square that you're going to flavor. That will make it nice and flavorful. And you see that now it's still runny, which is the main thing. You don't want to overfill with flavoring ingredients. You want your chocolate to have coated everything really well and to be nice and runny. Since I only have 2 squares in here, I'm going to put half of the grape candy in here. And so I sealed it well, and I'm just going to kind of roll it up, and then I'm going to just mix it with my hand like this. That's why it's so fun for kids. They love doing this. If I want to mix this, like for example, I want to make another color or something, and I want to take part of this chocolate. This bowl is cold, And so if I put this chocolate in here, it's going to set up immediately. There's a couple of things you can do to warm this bowl up. You can set it in your hot water here for a few minutes and warm it up. A lot of times I'll just run it over the sink like this with hot water and warm it up. Just remember, if you do that, to get all of the water out, because the chocolate is an oil-based food and it doesn't mix with water very well. You can do a lot of fun things. You can actually mold this if you have chocolate molds. I'll show you how to do that next time. But I'm gonna make just a couple little melts right here that would just be like pop in your mouth kind of melts. We're gonna make a couple round ones. The Icies that they used to sell, as I told you, were square. And so if you're making kind of traditional Icies, you want to have your chocolate at least 1/4 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch is better. So we're gonna make this as close to a square as we can. And I need a little bit more because you don't want it too thin. You want it to stand up and have a nice little piece of chocolate to pop in your mouth. We're going to score this. You can use anything, a knife works great, but I have the handle of this spoon. We're just gonna score this with the spoon right now. And basically we're just drawing lines in it to help when we want to break it in a few minutes so that it breaks in little squares. And this isn't working very well. Works better if I drag it. So I'm going to drag it. If it's not scoring, if you cannot get it to draw a line, then it's too hot. And so just wait about 1 minute. Now, see, now I can start to score it. We're gonna let it sit for a couple of minutes and it's going to set up. The other surface that we can use is just a piece of foil, but the chocolate might stick to it. So we're gonna put just a little bit of vegetable oil. You don't wanna overdo the vegetable oil. You want a nice thin coating to just keep the chocolate from sticking to it. We're gonna take our chocolate in the bag and just touch it. It should be nice and warm, and it is. So see how you can just continue to use your microwave and melt your chocolate as much as you're working with. You know, one of the cool things you can do with chocolate is construct things like gingerbread houses, and I use graham crackers sometimes to construct stuff. Chocolate works great for the mortar, and it tastes wonderful, this white chocolate. It's pretty and the kids love it. Now I cut the corner of there, and so now I can use this to pour out like just little drops. I've got little kind of big ones. I'm gonna try and do smaller ones. Just melt in your mouth, little drops. You could put somebody's name. Let's see if I could write a name on here. I don't know if I can. I think I can. There. I made the word Kim. Sometimes you want to make a special design. So I have a cookie cutter. We can actually cut out this chocolate with a cookie cutter, which is kind of exciting. We're just going to put, oops, remember I don't want water on my foil. So we're going to put just a layer of about 1/4 inch of chocolate on here, and it needs to be bigger than our cookie cutter. And so we're just going to spread it around like this and make a circle. You want it pretty even as far as how thick it is all the way around. So I just got some oil, and I'm just going to use a paper towel, and I'm going to grease the inside of this. And now I'm going to actually just put that into that chocolate, and I'm going to leave it there to set up. This pan, I actually put in the freezer for about 5 minutes, and it sets the chocolate up great. One of the reasons I like metal is because if you kind of pop it like this, they just slide off. It pops them loose. These squares right here, the Icies, we scored, and see it popped it right loose? That's kind of cool, huh? I'm going to try and break it on those lines. It'll still make nice little pieces of chocolate to just pop in your mouth. Over here where I scored it better, it will break better. So it'll break on the scored line. I put the slab of chocolate in the freezer that had the cookie cutter in it until it was well set up. And now I'm just going to push down on it a little bit because I wanted to break it free from the other chocolate. And now the moment of truth. Let's see if we can get it out of here. I don't know if I can. I'm trying to push. I was afraid that the top would break, and they did. The the little leaf broke off. I could use a little more chocolate and glue it back on like this. Just glue that leaf back on, lay it flat, and glue it back together, and it'll work just fine. I hope you try this at home. These Icies are almost addicting. In our next video, we'll be showing you how to mold these chocolates into all kinds of fun shapes. Thanks.